Our motorcycle tour begins in the large regional city of Pokhara in central Nepal. To get to Pokhara from Kathmandu, I decide to enjoy the scenery by taking a local bus, but I soon regret the 9.5 hours that the short 200-kilometre journey takes. From Pokhara, we travel clockwise to our first overnight stop at the Siriana Farm homestay in the mountains south of Pokhara. We then head north to Kushma for our overnight stay at the site of the world's second highest bungee jump. Continuing further north, we overnight in the delightful village of Marpa, with its ancient architecture, narrow streets and strong Tibetan culture. We then venture east to Muktana to visit a sacred temple before overnighting at our northernmost stay in Kagbeni. The heritage guest house in the small mountainside village of Malaj is our last stop before ending our tour back in Pokhara and returning to Kathmandu. The descent into Nepal gives great views of the distant Himalayan mountains and the city of Kathmandu. With a day and a half to kill in Kathmandu, I spend an afternoon roaming the busy streets of the Thamel neighbourhood, which, apart from having the occasional temple, is essentially a shopaholic's dream, along with plenty of street stalls, restaurants and places to get your groceries. The next day, I go to the medieval city-state of Bhaktapur in the Kathmandu Valley, east of Kathmandu city. Bhaktapur was founded in the 12th century AD by King Anandadeva. There are 3 major squares and countless ancient temples representing some of the best religious architecture in Nepal. Bhaktapur is recognised by UNESCO. It is a cacophony of people socialising, artisans working their trades, tractors, horses and carts transporting goods, sellers spruiking their wares and musicians entertaining the crowds. I then head to Swayambhu, better known as the Monkey Temple. Swayambhu is set on a hill just east of Kathmandu city. It has a stupa monument, a variety of shrines and temples, some that date back to around 500 AD, a Tibetan monastery, museum, shops, restaurants and hostels. The site is considered Buddhist, but it is revered by both Buddhists and Hindus. It seems that half of Kathmandu comes to Swayambhu every evening, with sunset over Kathmandu another of its main drawcards. So finally arriving in Pokhara, I check into the Heritage Hotel, which is designed around the preservation of traditional Nepalese artefacts, antiques and culture. It is also located near Pokhara's beautiful Fewer Lake. The next morning, we organise our riding gear and bags, load them into the support vehicle and make a short walk to the Hearts and Tears Motorcycle Clubhouse to begin the ride. We will be riding Royal Enfield Himalayan 411cc adventure bikes. These are a basic Indian-built mule of a bike, perfectly suited to the beating that they endure on each of these trips. The tour is led by our Nepalese guide Prabin. His local knowledge, good English, great riding skills and endless energy and enthusiasm make him the perfect host for our trip. He is ably supported by our mechanic and sweep rider Surya, a happy, unassuming local who we don't want to rely on, but it's good to know that he is there if we need him. Our international team of riders is Phil from Washington DC, Mark and Mike from Maryland in the United States, Andre from Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and of course, me, Aussie Phil from Melbourne. The first leg of our tour gets us out of Pokhara and into the nearby southern mountains on our way to the Syriana Farm homestay. So sit back and enjoy the ride. Arriving at Syriana Farm, we soon forget the cold showers that our accommodation offers as we settle into drinks and the traditional Nepalese dinner. The morning sunrise gives us a great view of the valley below and the mountain villages around us as we have breakfast and get ready for our next ride along the hair-raising roads to Kushma.
Yeah.
In Kushma, we leave the bikes in a compound on one side of a huge swing bridge and we walk to our accommodation at the Cliff Resort on the other side. We have drinks and dinner with amazing views across to Kushma, and the tents that we stay in take glamping to a new level. None of us came on this ride intending to bungee jump, and we only found out that it was available at the beginning of the trip. But peer pressure is a funny thing, and each of us nervously takes the 228 metre plunge into the ravine below.
Yeah? No. I still think you should wear my shirt and then I'll film you. And then I'll tell everyone at home that that was me. I'll just say I had a suntan.
So, Phil, what's up, buddy? What's happening?
Oh, I'm just going to go bungee jumping.
And how are you feeling right now?
Very nervous.
First time, right?
Yes, right.
And any thoughts? Anything you want to say?
I just loved my family. I'll hope to see her again.
All right, Phil. You have a good jump. Cheers.
Ready? Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, bounce first.
So having ticked that box, we fuel up the bikes and head to the village of Marpa. At a roadside cafe halfway to Marpa, we help the owner by rounding up the chooks to where they belong and checking on the meat that is hung out to dry. Remind me not to buy anything to eat at this cafe on the way back. The Hotel Marpa Palace is our next stop, and the night is literally freezing at the altitude of 2,750 metres. But the warmth of the Tibetan culture makes up for it as we wander the amazing labyrinth of narrow cobbled streets, visit the many souvenir shops and the Nyingma monastery. Marpa is in the Mustang district of northern Nepal. It has a strong Tibetan presence due to a nearby refugee camp that supplies many of the local workers for its apple growing, tourism and trekking industry. In particular, trekkers that take on the world-renowned Annapurna circuit. From Marpa we head east to visit the Muktana temple and then return to our overnight stay in Kagbeni. We stop along the way at a lookout above the Kali Gandaki River with the Annapurna mountain range on the horizon. At 3,800 metres above sea level, the long stair climb to the Muktana temple is hard going. The central shrine of the Muktana temple is considered by Hindus to be one of their 8 most sacred shrines in the world. The site is also sacred to Buddhists, with a huge statue of Buddha overlooking the Muktana Valley. Arriving in Kagbeni, we check in at the Hotel Mustang Gateway with its Yak Donald's restaurant. Dinner is of course a Yak Donald burger with real yak meat, along with a bottle or two of Mustang Lager. In the morning we tour the Sampfel Ling Monastery in Kagbeni. This Tibetan Buddhist monastery was established in 1429 and still stands today with many original artefacts in place. A new monastery and hostel buildings now stand alongside the original monastery, developed as the monastic community has been revived over the past couple of decades, from just 4 student monks in 2009 to the 64 that study there today. Finally, we begin the return trip to Pokhara, travelling back through Marpa and overnighting in the small mountainside village of Malaj. Unfortunately, Mark has a fairly serious accident on the loose gravel and sand. The bike didn't fare too well and Mark suffered some mild concussion, but he soon recovered, and with Syria's ingenuity, the bike was repaired enough for Mark to complete the tour. The Heritage at Malage is the final accommodation of our tour. It is a tough 8-kilometre climb from the valley road below, but the effort is well worth it, as the views and the guest house are stunning. The guest house was developed by Mickey, a larger-than-life character who turned the derelict building, previously owned by his grandfather, into what it is today. This is Mickey between me and Prabhan. After breakfast, it's back to Pokhara, as sadly, all things must end, so too does our amazing Nepalese motorcycle tour. Bye.